Picture this. A runway somewhere outside Seattle. It's 2019. A massive plane, the biggest twin-engine commercial jet ever built, is being rolled out to the public for the first time. Cameras everywhere, executives smiling, Boeing employees cheering on paper. This is a triumph. This is the 777X, Boeing's flagship, their answer to Airbus, their future. And they've been working on it for over a decade. But here's what those cameras didn't show you. Behind that celebration, there were engineers quietly looking at each other, because something wasn't right. And what was supposed to be a simple upgrade turned into something Boeing never expected. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what went wrong with the 777X. Not the version Boeing's PR team put out. The real version, because behind the delays, behind the billions in losses, behind the cancelled orders, there is a problem that runs much deeper. A problem no one at Boeing wants to talk about. Let's go back. Way back. The 777, launched in 1994. It was a game changer, twin engine, long range, efficient enough to fly from New York to Singapore without stopping. Airlines loved it. Passengers loved it. Boeing loved it. But by the early 2000s, a problem started forming. Airbus was coming, the A350, newer materials, better aerodynamics, better fuel efficiency. And airlines started paying attention. So Boeing did what Boeing always does. They looked at what they had, and they decided to upgrade it. Bigger engines, folding wingtips, new composite materials, a stretched fuselage to fit more passengers. It sounded simple, logical, safe, a classic Boeing move, improve the existing product rather than start from scratch. In 2013, they officially launched the 777X program. The projected entry into service? 2020. That date would move. Again, and again, and again. Here's where it starts to get complicated. The 777X wasn't just a stretched 777 with bigger engines. It was fundamentally different in ways that created entirely new engineering challenges ache the wings. The 777X has the longest wingspan of any commercial jet Boeing has ever made, 235 feet. That's almost the length of a football field, tip to tip. Nervous problem? Most airport gates weren't built for that. So Boeing's solution was folding wingtips. On the ground, the tips fold up hydraulically. In the air, they unfold and lock into place. Clever, elegant, and also completely new. No commercial airliner had ever done this before at scale, which means no one had ever certified one before. No playbook, no precedent. But that wasn't the real problem. The engines were. Boeing chose the GE9X, a brand new engine from General Electric, the largest jet engine ever built. 11-foot fan diameter, custom ceramic matrix composites, revolutionary, and absolutely untested in the real world at this scale. In 2019, during a pressure test on the fuselage, not even a flight test, a ground test, the door failed. Serious, not cracked, not leaked. Failed. A catastrophic structural failure during a routine certification test. Boeing and the FAA said it was minor. They'd fix it. Softly. But here's the thing about trust. Once it starts to crack, it's hard to seal back up. Because this was 2019. And 2019 was the year the 737 MAX was grounded. 4 o'clock, 2 crashes. 346 people dead. A scandal that shook Boeing to its core. And suddenly, the FAA, which had been famously cozy with Boeing for decades, changed. The relationship was over. The days of Boeing self-certifying large portions of its own planes. Gone every test result, every engineering claim, every document. The FAA was now going to look at everything themselves. And for the 777X, a plane with folding wingtips, a brand new engine, a new fuselage, new composite materials. That meant years of additional scrutiny. Years Boeing hadn't planned for. Years that cost money. Enormous amounts of money. Let's talk about the numbers for a second, because they're staggering. Boeing originally estimated the 777X program would cost around $10 billion. The actual cost is now estimated at over $20 billion. Some analysts say it could go higher. And the launch date? Originally 2020, then 2021, then 2022, then 2023, then 2025. Now, the FAA has to certify it, and nobody's giving a firm date anymore. Airlines started getting nervous. Emirates, Boeing's biggest 777X customer, with over 200 planes on order, started making noise. Their CEO publicly said he was losing patience. That's not something you say lightly when you've got billions of dollars on the line, but here's where things get worse. It's not just the delays. It's what the delays revealed about Boeing as a company. For years, Boeing had been shifting its culture, away from engineering, toward finance. Decisions that used to be made by people who built planes were now being made by people who read spreadsheets, and it showed. In 2019, internal messages surfaced during the MAX investigation. Engineers calling the MAX designed by clowns, talking about how safety systems were explained away to avoid simulator training costs. And the 777X, it carried the same DNA aggressive timelines, cost pressure, a culture that punished people for raising red flags. 7 o'clock in 2021, Boeing's own engineers filed a whistleblower complaint. They alleged that quality control issues on the 777X were being ignored. That pressure from management was overriding safety concerns. The FAA launched an investigation, and what they found was not reassuring. There were gaps in documentation, in oversight, in accountability. This wasn't a plane with one problem. This was a plane that had been built inside a broken system. And this is the part that most coverage of the 777X gets wrong. The story isn't really about folding wingtips. It isn't about a pressure test failure or an engine certification delay. The story is about what Boeing became. In 1997, Boeing merged with McDonnell Douglas. On the surface, it looked like Boeing had absorbed its competitor. But some people say it was the other way around. McDonnell Douglas had a very different culture: shareholder returns, cost-cutting, financial engineering. And slowly, quietly, that culture spread through Boeing. In 2001, Boeing moved its headquarters from Seattle, where the planes were built, to Chicago, away from the factories, away from the engineers. The message, whether intentional or not, was clear. This company is now run by executives, not engineers. And for a while, it worked. The stock went up. Buybacks flooded the market. Dividends flowed. But planes are not financial instruments. They are extraordinarily complex machines that have to work perfectly. Every time, in every condition, with hundreds of lives on board. And when you start treating them like a line item on a balance sheet, size. Eventually, reality catches up. The 777X is reality catching up. Not because the plane is unsalvageable. It might ultimately be a brilliant aircraft, but because the process that built it was broken, and you cannot fix a process problem with a press release. Oh, what happens now? Boeing is rebuilding. Slowly, painfully. New leadership, new commitments to safety culture, a new relationship, tense, skeptical, but real, with the FAA. The 777X will likely be certified. Eventually, it will fly. It will carry passengers. It may even be exceptional, but the damage is done. Airbus has used every year of Boeing's crisis to strengthen its position. Airlines that might have ordered 777Xs have signed deals with the A350 instead. Trust, with airlines, with regulators, with the flying public, takes years to rebuild. And here's the thing I keep coming back to. Boeing didn't set out to build a broken airplane, they set out to build a great one. But somewhere between the boardroom and the factory floor, something got lost. This wasn't just a delay. It was a warning. And the question Boeing has to answer, the one the whole industry is watching, is whether they heard it.